2 3 minutes sometimes.
Yeah. Try to give you more time. All ready to go. Both in there. Alright. Let's get started here. Bonjour. Welcome to the Jonny R Show. I think this is episode number 306. And my guest today is Red Lake Tribal Secretary candidate Jim White. Thanks for coming on, Jim. Appreciate it. And we're just going to go over a few of your topics, what you want the public to know about your campaign. You're going to introduce yourself, your background, family, whatever you want to talk about. Stage is yours.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm running for the position of the Secretary of the Tribal Council. I'll be running against Donald Cook Sr., Rochelle Shelley Kingbird, Judy Roy, Sam Strong. I've worked for the tribe for about 38 years altogether now. I'm 62 years old and I have a nice family supporting me. You know, there's a lot of issues that can be covered. Sometimes it takes about 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. What I call you, John
John before. Damn, Tatanka means in his. Right.
We're getting into the stage of the campaign now where it's a 5-way race. Usually it's a 2-way race. You got to get 50% plus 1 vote to win. Mm-hmm. And I like all the candidates. Mm-hmm. And I have nothing against anybody. Yeah. But it's just my time now. A long time ago, my grandpa taught me a lot of things with my dad and mom, grandma especially. That there's 5 things that we have to experience in our life. There's 5 principles that we live by. Mm-hmm. First one is the Creator. And the second one is you have an open mind. Mm-hmm. The third one is you make good choices. The fourth one is wisdom. And the fifth one is service, and you give back after all your life is. You have great grandchildren. I got great grandchildren now. Yeah. And, it's my solid feeling in here that it's time to do this. Mm-hmm. I was in office before as a Red Lake representative, but I didn't have the experience that was required of that position. Yeah. I served the remaining 2 years of Fabian Cook's term after he resigned. That's how I got into council. Mm-hmm. And then I worked about 1.5 years as a representative. And I want to apologize to all the people right now, right here, that I didn't live up to your expectations at that time. Mm-hmm. But now that I have my law-trained status, that's where I'm coming from. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to help everybody in all 4 districts. And being an officer in the tribal council is a big honor, and I respect that office. Mm-hmm. And I could relate to you when you said something about the negativity that's displayed sometimes on Facebook, and it hurts you, and sometimes that's when people need help. There's a lot of things that people will be kind of reluctant to talk about, like poverty or job creation or cost of living. Mm-hmm. The people are elected to serve all of the people. And that nepotism, I'm against that in any form, because it does not solve any issues. Accountability has always got to be a 2-way street. And I have in proposal form, I did submit this to the code committee to have a wellness court. Mm-hmm. That would be like alternative ways of helping people who are having problems with their addictions to alcohol or drugs, offering them a better way. And a lot of times people will give up on them, But during this time, I'd like to talk a little bit about it. It's already in place. We got the steps. I think we may have the money from the Department of Justice. It's just a matter of implementing it. Mm-hmm. And that'll help people instead of people condemning them or, they have hard times, but they love their families just as much as you and I do. Mm-hmm. And they're just as good as anybody. Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it. And it takes us all a lifetime to learn what we must know. My true belief right here is our real leadership is in the people.
Yeah.
The grandparents, parents, aunties and uncles, the cousins, they all know who you can trust for office. You have to know you can trust that person. And they're the real leadership. One of my, when I was thinking about it, I just sat down and typed up a whole bunch of things, and I'll be presenting these. I'm going house to house with people and talking to them, letting them know that I really mean this, you know. Comes from right here. I just sat down and typed up a bunch of stuff. You know, our friends in the community, just like our Facebook friends, they know everything there is to know. And they can inform the people that, you know, it's time for listening to what the silent majority has to say.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to listen to the people's concerns instead of a bunch of people running for office, running in there and telling them this is what's good for you. It's time we listen. And I encourage all the people of the 4 districts to say what you mean and mean what you say. I think we'll all be better off once that is done. As far as personally, I stand up for equal rights, and like I previously stated, I'm against nepotism. I'm always straight up accountable and fair. You know, if I was the secretary of the council, I would support the district reps and move their legislation forward the way it's supposed to be, without delaying or criticizing it. You know, and I spoke with quite a few people who are not in favor of Red Lake Inc.
Yeah.
And if I'm elected, I'm going to reevaluate them. You know, for the plain and simple fact, and if you undermine the best efforts of an organization or resource program director without cause, that's simply not fair. You know, we had work programs when I was a kid. We had neighborhood youth corps and the Green Thumb. One was for the youth and one was for the elders, with something to do all the time. And I think we can readjust some monies up there that are being used for different things like this Red Lake Inc. We could utilize that money to provide employment for the unemployed, the youth and the elders. You know, because sometimes when, like I've worked in the courts for 22 years. No, and one of the judges up there, I know those hard times have an effect on people, and when I ask them, you know, are you employed? You know, to pay a fine that can't cause hardship on them. If they have kids, I'll give them community service as an alternative. But I've seen those hard times on a daily basis for a number of years now, and it just hurts me sometimes to see these people coming in. You know, on a daily basis, I see people lose their freedom, their families, their jobs, educational opportunities, and some of them simply just give up. You know, with my experience, I can help in those areas. We have a mediation court where we take it out of court and just go privately into and let them work it out themselves, and it works good. There don't need to be no fines or anything levied out. And some people are reluctant to talk about this next issue, and it's drugs. I'm not reluctant to talk about it because of the ways that we can help those who have these addictions. We can help them. Like I said, they love their families too, and we're all directly or indirectly affected by these situations. People struggle with alcohol and or drugs, you know. I'm going to incorporate some very specific legislation and alternative ways of helping everybody if the Red Lake Band elects me. You know, in the past, I never exploited my position as a Red Lake District Representative. I served the remaining 2 years of Fabian Cook's term following his resignation, and I apologize to everyone for not meeting your expectations during that time period. It is now 10, 12 years later, and I have the law-trained status that I did not have during that time. If elected, I will bring things forward in a fair and impartial manner from all 4 districts without delay or criticizing them. I'm asking for your support as we move into the future, and I will always consult all 4 districts before I put anything into place. I'd like to leave my number. My email is jwhite32@outlook.com. 218-368-4979 is my cell phone. My work phone is 679-3303, although I can't take personal calls. My home phone is 679-3212. That's all 218. I also have a fax. That's 679-4364. You know, I put a little status in Facebook when I still don't know how to put pictures and stuff, but I'm learning. People call me a dinosaur because I got one of all track phones or something. But I do the best I can with the amount of money that I bring home.
So do you have anybody helping you with like your websites and all that stuff then?
Well,
Or
they said they'd come over if I asked them to. But, yeah, you got a job if you want to help me there. Well, in that piece I put in a paper, I said, if you want somebody who's fair, open-minded, makes good decisions, believes in teamwork, is against nepotism, supports our culture and heritage, law-trained and honest, and vote for Jim White for Red Lake Nation Tribal Secretary. We have a lot of other things too. Talking about this political science thing. Got it right down right here. You know, there's candidates say, like I said, there's a 5-way race here. And I want to wish everybody the same luck, everybody. The people will tell us who they want in here, and that's the way it'll go. And I'm done with that. Yo. A lot of the kids I talk to nowadays, they say, hey man, you're old school. This is how you say this. Okay. So they're teaching me all the time. But at least I talk to these people too. And I sponsored 20 people who are having problems with alcohol and drugs. They come over to us all the time. Got them jobs, got them houses, let them know that I'm for real. And I don't just talk to be talking. I get things done. You know? Now, there's about 35 days until the election's here. And like I said, there's 5 candidates instead of a 2-party race. The top 2 will be in probably a runoff. Unless one candidate reaches more than 50% plus 1 vote. I'll be reaching as many of the voters as I possibly can. And thank you for the people who've already pledged their support. And like I left my numbers for anybody to get a hold of me at any time. And it's going to spend a lot of time and energy because I'm in the motivation stage here. I got a chance to lose and I got a chance to win. I'm right at 50%. And hopefully things will go, because I never wanted anything as much as I do to be the secretary for the Red Lake Nation. A lot of people used to make fun of me when I started dancing. They said, you'll never do it. 84 and 85. I won the world championship grass dancing 2 years in a row. That was from running 5 miles a day in dedication. That's the same motivation I have for this election coming up here. And if anybody ever wants to talk about anything with me, I'm sure open to it. Because I'm open-minded and I learn a lot from people. But I encourage everybody to say what you mean and mean what you say when you talk to the candidates. A lot of them, they have good intentions. And like I said, I like all of them. I worked with all of them at some point or another. I've been working for 38 years now. I used to see nice young people like that walk by and say, man, I wish I was 10 years younger. Now I say, man, I wish I was 40 years younger. Just kidding. But so there's a lot of things. You may have some questions for me. I'm open.
Yeah. All right. Well, being that you're working at the courts right now, and I was just reading this on Twitter. That's another like a Facebook page, but it says that the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe has become the 8th federally recognized tribe to allow same-sex couples to marry. Do you think that's ever going to come up around Red Lake? And what are your thoughts on that?
Sex?
Yeah.
Well, each individual has their own rights, you know. When open-minded, you take things as they come. Like another example would be, what they're gonna do when they legalize weed around here. Yeah, that's a big issue.
Yeah, it seems to be working in was it Colorado, California, and all that?
Washington.
Washington. So you think it'll come to that eventually, Minnesota? And
I have no doubts about it. It's already in the state. If they legalize marijuana, that's what they did in 1902 with opium.
Yeah.
They legalized it because they couldn't control it anymore. Have to laugh at what they call drug wars. All the politicians are buying it for people, and then they sit back and quite a racket. Unless them shows are all Not true. But yeah, I mentioned a little while ago about what I proposed to the code committee about a wellness court. It's similar to a DUI court,
No.
but it deals directly by using a team approach.
No.
So when a thing's lacking, sometimes in Red Lake we have all these resource programs, and they all got their little, hey, this is my area. You know, everybody's got to work together instead of that turf gardening. That way we can provide a network for people who are hurting, because we've come to a point now in our history where we're losing a whole generation of parents.
Yeah.
I've seen this coming 2 years now, and it's sad to see. And we can fix this. There's a lot of referral points, you know, with all the different resource programs, and screening and eligibility is automatic because we're all enrolled members.
Yeah.
The treatment, if there's needed, and rehab, we have that available too. I'd like to get something more going for the alcohol. I'll give you an example. Alcohol program, they give them 30 days in treatment, 90 days in the halfway house. For these heavy-duty drugs we're experiencing now, it takes 12 to 16 months to even get to that problem.
Yeah.
That's how long it takes. Because I've seen a lot of my friends, and a lot of their friends come into court and they have brain damage.
Yeah.
They just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll tell them, you know, we can help you. Do you want help? Someone will say, yes, we do. So we'll help them. We'll get them in the training and everything that they need. We have, like I said, we have 20 people that have completed and they're doing really well. And I sponsor them. I don't ask for nothing in return. That's just the way that I've been taught. My grandma was, she was one of the big teachers for me when I was growing up. I'll tell you a story. When I was a little teenager, I was starting to go and walk around and not stay at home as much as I should.
Yeah.
And my grandma was just hung over her and my grandpa Charlie. And she wrote a note. And she said, Jimmy, would you take care of this? They used to call me Kinnos. Kinnos, would you take this over to Sissy's and give me some wine? I said, they won't give it to me. And she said, take this note over there and give it to her. So I did. I come walking out there, the whole bag of pints of wine for my grandma, and I took them over there. And now I was one of the most famous kids after that because I used that note about 4 times. But anyways, maybe that's when I business kicked in. Yeah, I used to buy fur too, and I got a active business now where I promote professional boxing. It's called Res Promotions. And that's a lot of fun because that's a good discipline for our youth. We got a new grant that, what's her name? Sandy and her daughter are working on right now to get a funding for a girls boxing. We'll take care of that too. We have Mike Donnell. He's very helpful, and Gitch Clark. They're working on that. Getting back to this, that thing I can't stress enough is that there's got to be a team interaction in everything to the development and maintenance of ongoing commitments, a communication piece, the coordination and cooperation among our resource programs, team members. See, they call it a team now. It ain't your program, it's a team of programs. Service providers and the people that we will say, hey, check this out, you know, this is how we do in our budget. The people that fund us, the community and relevant organizations. We need a spiritual piece in there too. The Still Day families, they're doing an excellent job in the communities right now. We'll get our formal written procedures and agreements that are critical for this tribal wellness court to be successful. That's one of my goals, to help all the families, parents, everybody.
So when you were in council before, you think it was just your lack of experience in tribal, I don't know, not tribal law, but like tribal business? Why you didn't get reelected again, or?
I think it's because of the stance that I took on drugs. And I didn't. The biggest lesson I learned from that was to tell people before you do something. That's why I said if I was elected, I would go to all 4 districts and make sure that they're good with it before I move any legislation forward. And that was my mistake, and I own up to it. And like I said, I apologize to all Red Lake Nation for not living up to the expectations. I did some good work in there while I was there, though. But yeah, experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
And now that I'm ready, you know, I'm mature enough to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you very much for having me on here. And if you have any other questions, or if there are any questions from the audience, I'd be sure glad to take them.
All right. We didn't get any questions. I tried to put this on Facebook, and nobody asked questions until I'm already done filming. And so maybe we can get some.
We can get back together too for another one.
Well, I'll be down in the cities too, and maybe I'll have some questions for you then.
I have a lot of fun down there.
Yeah. So is that going to be like a question and answer thing, or is it just you guys?
Well, everybody, like I said before, they only get about 2 to 5 minutes to do it because there's going to be 33 presentations at 5, and everybody's going to want to eat. So they'll sound like an auctioneer trying to say everything they have to say, you know.
Spit everything. I remember when I was doing that, I ran a couple times, and they would always have Little Rock last, and my name was always one of the last ones because alphabetically, and by the time I got to speak, there's about 4 or 5 people in the audience.
Yeah.
I think they should start with Little Rock first and then make their way down, or make their way up the
another thing
officers.
too, you know, we should have some more things out in Little Rock. A little more things in Red Bee, and a lot more up Panema. We have these businesses, you know, they're all centrally located here in Red Lake. Every district deserves to, you know, get their opportunities too. Because it's hard without a car. A lot of people have to hire people, go to Bemidji.
Yeah.
They get charged X amount of dollars, and they can't afford that. That poverty really, it's not just a word like some people look at it. It's a condition, and we can deal with that too. So hopefully, we'll put these things together for everybody and see what they think about it, and if they vote me there, I'll sure do what I said I was going to do.
Cool.
In the ways I was taught too, when you get something, you always give back. So I'm going to give you this keychain.
Oh, all right.
In appreciation for having me on your show. And
nice. I need a new one.
You get to know me, you'll find I'm probably crazier than you are.
All right, man. Cool. Appreciate it. Well, last words, or are you done, or you want to wrap it up? Or?
Well, I just want to say I'm very appreciative of this opportunity and this chance to represent the Red Lake Nation in our tribal council. This time I know what's going on. I have some definite plans, and I will be a team worker with everybody. All the reps, sometimes they bring things in and they're pushed to the side because of other business, you know. I'll bring these things forward after talking to the 4 districts.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for the gift.
Well,